purpose of this video is to go over the answers to Thought Primer 13A problems that come from sections or chapters 5.4 and 5.6. I'm going to try and blaze through this pretty quickly and give you some instructions about what your next step should be. And I want to start with the answers to the problems in 5.6 and then look at the ones in 5.4 quickly. All right. So in 5.6, first problem says this. Some police chiefs undermine the even-handed enforcement of the law because anyone who fixes tickets does that. In other words, anyone who fixes tickets undermines the even-handed enforcement of the law. And the question you would have to ask yourself is this: what's missing? And one way to do that is to look to see if you have any indicator words. Because if you have any conclusion indicator words, then you know you're missing a premise. But if you have any premise indicator words, you would also know you're missing a premise, and here's why. So here you have the word because. That's a premise indicator, and the word because is signaling to you that I just said something to you, and I have a reason for believing what I just said was true. Well, if you're moving towards providing me reasons for something you've already said, you must have given me a conclusion. And that's maybe how you want to think about these enthymemes a little bit, is to look for those indicator words, because if you see them, it's a pretty good indicator that you're missing a premise, like you are here. And the premise you're missing here is that some police chiefs fix parking tickets, okay? So if it's true that anyone who fixes parking tickets undermines the even-handed enforcement of the law, and it's true that some police chiefs fix parking tickets, that would lead you to the conclusion that some police chiefs undermine the even-handed enforcement of the law. Why can I not talk? All right, number 2 says any form of cheating deserves to be punished, and plagiarism is a form of cheating. Now notice here you don't see any indicator words, okay, but you do see the word and the word and is telling you that the two sentences that appear on each side of it are doing kind of the same thing. Well, if you have two sentences that are doing kind of the same thing, those must be your two reasons. So then you would ask yourself here, well, if it's true that any form of cheating deserves to be punished and plagiarism is a form of cheating, what else would have to be true? In other words, what do those two statements lead to? And it leads to plagiarism deserves to be punished. Okay, so if you have something along those lines, bravo for you. Number 3 says this: Carrie Underwood's a talented singer. After all, it's a nice premise indicator, she's won several Grammy Awards. Okay, so again, you see that premise indicator word? That tells you you're missing a premise, because the main conclusion here is that Carrie Underwood is a talented singer. So you'd have to ask yourself, if it's true that Carrie Underwood's won several Grammy Awards, what else would have to be true to draw the conclusion that Carrie Underwood is a talented singer? And the answer is, it would have to be something along these lines. Any singer, all singers who have won several Grammy Awards are talented or is talented. Okay, so if you have something along those lines, cool. Number 4, I don't think I wrote this one correctly. A few fraternities have dangerous initiation rites, and those that do have no legitimate role in campus life. Okay, so you've got a not there instead of no. Sorry about that. So a few fraternities have dangerous initiation rites, and those that do have no legitimate role on campus life. No premise indicator or no indicator words of any kind, which tells you there must be a conclusion that's missing. And the conclusion here is a few fraternities have no legitimate role in campus life, which would have to be true if those two statements in number 4 are true. All right, and then the last one in 5.6, only nonprofit organizations are exempt from paying taxes, so churches must be exempt. Oh, well, and there's the missing premise. Churches are nonprofit organizations, okay? So if churches are exempt from taxes and only nonprofit organizations are exempt from paying taxes, it would have to also be true that churches are nonprofit organizations. All right. So I would say if you got 3 out of 5 of those, that's pretty good, because we haven't really had much time to talk about enthymemes, and I probably wouldn't worry about them too much, because there's very few questions on your exam for Chapter 5 that have to do with enthymemes. So it's probably not something worth sweating, but it is a good skill to have, because oftentimes people leave out unstated premises in their arguments because they know if you heard what would need to be true in order for their conclusion to be true, that you might have reason for doubting the conclusion. So they'll just leave that premise unsaid and hope you don't think about it. So it is a good practice. It is a good skill to be able to figure out exactly what needs to be true given the set of statements that somebody's making to you in support of a claim. All right, let's look at the answers for 5.4 real quick. So number 6 is valid, number 7 is valid, number 8 is invalid because it has exclusive premises, number 9 is valid, number 10 is invalid because it too has exclusive premises. I wish I hadn't given you 2 problems with the same fallacy. All right, so check those really quickly. And if If you got all those right, super cool. If you got any of those wrong, then you'll want to go back to the course module and for Thought Primer 13a, and you'll see 5 videos, one for each of these problems, where you'll see me work through that problem, and that might be a good way for you to see kind of a step-by-step process for figuring these things out. And then if you have any confusion, hopefully you won't have any after you watch those videos. But if you do, just send me an email. All right? So your next steps. Oh, I wanted to share this cartoon with you. I found this the other day and I thought it apropos of the way I've been feeling lately. It's a couple of folks walking down the street, and one says, my desire to be well informed is currently at odds with my desire to remain sane. So I don't know how you guys are feeling, but sometimes I feel like when I watch the news, my head's going to explode. So I've been trying to stay away from all things news for at least part of the day, because sometimes it just gets to be a bit too much. All right, so here's your next steps. If you got any of those problems in 5.4 wrong, go back to the course module for Primer 13a and watch the videos that correspond to the problems you got wrong, okay? If you got any of those wrong, fix your thought primer, okay? Because I need you to email your thought primer to me. You can write it out if you want to and send it to me as a file through email, or you can take a picture of your thought primer. That works perfectly fine too, but I want you to get that to me by Friday, April 3rd at midnight, okay? So that's coming up here. So you want to make sure that you get that photo or you get that file to me by Friday at midnight. If you're going to have a problem with that, just let me know, okay? So we'll work together on these things. You also need to congratulate yourself, seriously. So if you've gotten this far, you're going to finish the course and you're going to be successful, because this is how we're going to roll going forward. So if you did this, cool. Okay? And it's important to remind yourself that you can do this. Seriously, I wouldn't BS you. You can totally do this. The important thing is that you just keep plugged into those course modules and that you contact me with any questions you have. And I don't care how silly you think the question is, contact me, okay? Even if it has to do with stuff related to CR not in our class, I'll track down the answers for you. All right? So I'm getting ahead of myself with my bullet points here. Yes, email me with any questions. And then finally, when you're ready, move on to the next module. Okay, so that'll be Thought Primer 14a, and it's exciting stuff. All right, hang in there.